Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. What is happening? Welcome to Working Hours, an oral history podcast about a place called Leeds, a time called now, and an activity called work. Working Hours wants to record 1,000 loiners over the course of this, the most important decade in the history of the human species, and ask them about what they do all day and hear how they feel about it. My name is Simon, and this is all my fault. My mission here is to try to map out what my city, Leeds, a city that has declared a climate emergency, did during humanity's biggest emergency. On Working Hours, we hear how loiners have, are, and will be coping with our multiple and expanding crises during their day-to-day working hours. Can we turn things around? We'll find out. To tell this story, I need loiners like you, dear listener. I need people in Leeds or people from Leeds to come on this podcast and just tell me what they do all day and let me record how this affects us. Thank you for listening.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh God, this is going back to primary school. No, year 7 days when I thought I was some sort of genius and I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse. In year 7, I thought I was a genius back then, and I was like, and everyone's like, really? You want to be a nurse? Yeah.
So, why nursing? What was appealing about that? Was it the hospitals, the uniform? Did you know anyone that was nursing, or was there a particular
No,
TV program? Or
no, my dad's a doctor, so I
right?
thought, oh yeah, if I be a nurse, I can be as rich as him.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so did you pursue it at all? Did you how long did you hold that idea for? Was it just a couple of years?
It was, and then when I did my GCSEs, that's when I realized that that dream wasn't going to go anywhere. I mean, I did get my health and social diploma,
Hmm.
and then I will eventually got that, and then um, I didn't pass one unit. I was just missing one vital unit, and I didn't. I should have asked to take it again,
Mm.
and I would have been able to get onto the national diploma, which would have been equivalent to getting 4 A levels, and then I could have gotten into nursing. But yeah, I messed up on that one unit,
Mm.
and it cost me a decent career when I got there eventually.
You're listening to Series 5, Episode 32, and to my guest, Lyla Asif. This is another Zoom interview recorded on the 25th of April, 2024. Hello, listener. Lyla Asif is a very outspoken 30-something-year-old with lots going on. A disability and mental health influencer. All views in the interview are their own. Right, let's do this episode 142 of Working Hours with Lyla Asif.
Okay, so we'll jump straight into what is it that you're doing now then?
So for the last 10 years ish, my main job is retail. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my main proper job is retail. But for the last, God, how old am I? I'm gonna be 33. 17, 18. That's when I started like using third sector services, charity services, not like youth groups and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was through participation, engagement. I worked my way up the ranks from being a participant to being a facilitator. And I've worked all around the country doing lots and lots of different things. I've been on panels for NHS interviews, interviewing psychological therapists who work in a certain trust. I've done stuff for the British Psychological Associate. Yeah, British Psychological Association through a national youth mental health charity, and all of it's a very close thing to my own lived experience, and that's like my thing. Not like obviously mental health and disability are like my two top things. Not like had to if I had to choose my next career, which I am in the process of doing, it'd have to be in disability or mental health, development and awareness, and just talking about stuff, because we've got enough. I don't want to say the actual word I want to say, but we've got enough stuff going on in the world. And there's still a lot of like ignorance and a lot of hate around disability and mental health. And you get it every day. Not like every day. There's always something on social media, on news, everything. And it's like, it'd be okay. It'd be not like, I'm not saying the hate would be okay, but the awareness, it'd be okay if the awareness was actually combating these things, but it's not combating anything. If anything, people are using this knowledge to abuse people with disabilities even more. And the most ironic thing is like a national disability charity who's they're doing like they're focusing on, they're doing like posts at the moment about how great the London Marathon was, and they're like, oh, such and such person is running for us. Wow. No, like, but when it comes to like intersectionality within that charity itself, and I'm purposely leaving names out because yeah, as soon as one of my really close friends hears this, they will know exactly who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. But this certain charity likes to talk about inclusion, diversity, all that bull. But when it comes to practicing what they preach and including that intersectionality bit within their company, and we're not like talking about different sectors of disability, they don't do it. You can be Muslim and you're disabled. You can be brown and disabled. You can be, you are anything. These people exist. Why aren't you representing them? Like, trans Muslims exist, gay Muslims exist. I know they're not a thing, but they do exist, and it's really funny, and it's really ironic that these things are happening, but they're purposely not being included because it doesn't fit their agenda. And they only talk about these things when it suits them.
Well, let's
Sorry,
go
I
back
just
up.
went, I had
No,
a
no,
bit of a
no, it's fine.
waffle on there.
We'll go back a bit, and we'll start with. So let's start with. So you're disabled yourself. Like, in what way? How did that? Like, has it been your whole life? Has it been something that has happened within recent years? Like, what's the story behind that?
So I was born with cerebral palsy. Yay me. I was, well, that I brag about it now, but it's nothing worth bragging about. But basically, I've got cerebral palsy. It's basically it can be caused at birth. It can also happen at any time in your life.
Mhm.
Cerebral palsy is basically brain damage.
Mm.
Yay, brain damage. And it affects me. Well, it affects my legs
Mm.
and well, the one I've got, because there's so many different kinds of cerebral palsy, the
Mhm.
one I've got, it affects all four of my limbs.
Mhm.
So I walk funny.
Mm.
Sometimes when I'm tired, my speech is affected.
Mhm.
So my speech can sometimes be slurred when I'm tired or when
Mm.
I'm nervous or anything like that.
Mm.
But mostly it's tiredness, and I say I've got weaker muscles than everybody else, but and my legs are weaker than everybody else. But again, my Instagram grid shows a different story.
So
Um,
let's go back to the nursing then. When did that come into play with the nursing? Would you have been able to go into nursing with it, or would it have prevented you?
well, at the time I was told it's going to be hard, it's going to be long hours, you
Mhm.
won't be able to do this, this, and this, you won't be able to get through. And then I was basically told it was going to be too much for me because of my CP. I was told that it was going to be too much. I'm going to be tired. There's no point wasting my money. I
Mm.
mean, I did about 18 months to 2 years working in a nursing home.
Mhm.
I worked in two to three different nursing homes, like as a care assistant and stuff. And yeah, it was long hours. I mean, the job I do now is I've done 13-hour shifts
Yeah.
at Christmas
Yeah.
in retail.
And you're on your
And
feet all day. You're looking after people. Like you're literally,
and you're
you know,
talking
giving
as
care.
well.
Yeah.
And me me doing, bearing in mind that this was at Christmas, I was doing 12-hour shifts, 13-hour shifts. I've done it where I've done like a 9 to 10 hour shift in Ramadan,
Mm.
in retail, on my feet all day.
Mm.
You want to talk about exhaustion? Imagine talking to the general public all day for example, 10 hours.
Mm.
And after the second hour, your throat is as dry as
Mm.
if you've been talking for 6 hours
Mm.
because you're fasting.
Mm.
And and again in Ramadan, it makes it 10 times harder because everybody's like, oh, not even water. So you can't have anything. Like, yes, I can't have water, can't have food. So what are you gonna do? I wouldn't be able to do it. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I know you wouldn't be able to do it, but God has the one doing it. It's me. And and it has become it's become a meme now over these past few years
Mm.
that every single Ramadan, every single Muslim influencer makes that joke. The not even water joke, right? And yeah, it's funny. I'm laughing. You're laughing. But when you're posed with that question
Yeah.
every single day at work, every single year, every single day, oh, you're fasting. You can't even have water. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. And like I've got a really potty mouth. And in Ramadan, I had to tone down a lot. I had to like, so instead of telling a person to like get lost, especially my colleagues, I nearly erupted at someone like I was this close to erupting. And one of my colleagues pulled me aside and he goes, "Are you all right?" And I go, "If one more person says, not even water, I will grab them. And he goes, no, you won't. And I'm like, I will. So funny because when I'm at the gym and this Ramadan and the previous 3, except for last year because I wasn't like properly training last year, but from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, I've always fasted I've fasted and I've also trained. Just because I'm fasting does not give me an excuse to not go to the gym. And I don't change my training time. If anything, I was going early morning because I knew it would be a lot easier to go straight in, straight out. No messing around, no waiting for machines because it wouldn't be as packed. And in theory, I did that for for the first 2 weeks. And then I was like, no, I'll go a little bit later. It'll be more normal. I sabotaged myself, but I did it. But yeah,
Well
back to the nursing thing. The long hours and stuff and the CP, no, like if I'd have known that it was good, that I was going to be in a much rubbish job, doing the same amount of work, same amount of effort, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I'm going to try. But I didn't. I just gave up and I just gave in to everybody else's comments and demands. And yeah, if I'd have known what I would have been able to achieve within that decade from 18 to 28, and I would have been like, I would have been the person I am now and been like, yeah, screw you kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you say, it's not just there's a lot of people putting you off there as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you would have been, you sort of going to be fighting that your whole career if you'd have taken that path as well. But then at the same time, like you say, if you'd known, you could have been like, well, yeah, I'm going to do this, and damn you all.
Yeah. And it makes me laugh because like the same people that were telling me that I can't achieve or the most ironic thing is the people that used to bully me in school, like the same people, like they've been approached by a few of them that were in my classes and used to call me all sorts of names and stuff. I've seen them in town now and they're exactly the same. They have not changed at all. They're just really horrid people that make the same comments. And I'm like, you're in your 30s, for God's sake. Behave like a flipping adult. No, like, it wasn't funny in school and it's not funny now. And I seriously take no I take no criticism lightly, and I do. And if anyone wants to say something to me, that I don't hide behind social media, say it to my face if you're that brave. And again, with social media, it's no, like when I first started my fitness Instagram, I used to get the comments, oh, look at her form. Her form's so rubbish. And I'm like, have you not read my username, mate? Like the amount of people that, oh, look, her legs are caving. I'm like, and I'm still doing it, aren't I? I'm still there. And then after a while, I had my Instagram private for so many years, for such a long time. And to be honest, I did grow quite a bit from it. And then very recently, like I'd say about 2 months ago, I took it off private.
Mhm.
And even though I'm posting more and more now, I'm posting more and more progression, weekly to 2 weekly stuff, when I actually do go to the gym and do something worth posting, I post it. And
Mhm.
I'm not posting it for likes or attention. I'm just posting it because I've done it and I can do it, and that's just a proof to myself and other people with CP that, look, just because you've got CP, you shouldn't let it stop you. And the amount of people I know who have CP and do CrossFit, do weightlifting, do all sorts of things, and it's like, why should you let a medical diagnosis stop you? And I've met so many fantastic people online through having CP and stuff. But
Mm.
also, on the backbone of it, I've also met some right idiots who still think that CP is one of those conditions where you're stopped. And it's funny because you get like the polar opposites. Like, you get people who are like, oh, well done, keep going, you're amazing. And then you get the, oh, it must be so hard for you. Yeah, so hard because I have to put up with your BS.
Let's talk about what you're doing now then, in terms of, because you've said that you're looking to kind of move into a new phase of working, and you're doing things in sort of third sector organizations as well as your day job. So with the third sector work, and that's something that you're moving into, yeah. How did you get involved in those organizations? Was that just through, you were dealing with these organizations already and then you got involved with other ones, or like, how did you get drawn into the third sector and kind of
So
realize it was there?
yeah. So basically what happened was I went through something incredibly awful, and I was in the waiting list for counseling for
Mhm.
like a few different places back then. But I don't know if you've heard of the marketplace in Leeds. The marketplace, the counseling and young people's mental health place.
Okay.
That is the best way to describe it in my words.
Yeah.
And they were one of the best, literally one of the best. And it feels weird saying this, but if it wasn't for the marketplace, I would not be sat here talking to you.
Mm.
And that's one of the most important things, not like the most thingy things, not like I've had NHS, I've had CBT through the NHS, and
Mm.
it's been NHS CBT is like meh, not like, it's like up down here.
Mm.
But when I was taught, not like I was, God, how old was I at the time? 19? Was I 19 or was I? No, I was a bit younger, wasn't I? About 17, 18, I think. Yeah, I was about 17, 18 when this happened.
Mm.
And I was like, what the hell? And they're like, why is this? They're like, why is everything happening? What what's going on with me? Why? And they're like, whatever. And then
Mm.
had about 11 months, nearly a year, through the marketplace. And it was her that suggested that I go to their youth group
Mm.
and access that for a while, and not like get me back, not like help me transition back into society,
Mm.
and like just generally just make like new friends and
Yeah, give you the support,
yeah,
give you a
yeah,
network of people that
yeah.
are on your side.
Uh-huh. And I was like, and I was completely different to what I am now. I was like really nervous, really shy, didn't really, like, wasn't really confident at all. And, I was like really awkward. Well, I'm still awkward now, but for different reasons. Um, but yeah, and the first few months I was like, what am I doing here? I feel out of place. And I was like, oh God, do I have to? And like, I felt really weird, and like, it took me a while to get into talking to people and like trusting people and stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I come from the days of MySpace,
Mm.
right? I come from the days of when we were in year 9, we had MSN and MySpace, and we used to speak to bloody Americans halfway across the world. And it's funny that I mentioned Americans and MySpace because there's one person we met when we were like 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going to be 33. I'm going to be there. No, he's 33 already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be 33. And that this friendship has been consistent the last 2 decades.
Mm.
We've been best friends for ages. And we met in MySpace times.
It's pretty impressive for an online friendship as well. Yeah.
And he's come to the UK a few times. So he's real. He's not a catfish. He's real. He's real. What
So
was the
so that's your
question?
first sort of experiences with third sector organizations.
Yeah.
Did they, I mean, was it a natural move into doing work in that area? You just sort of start helping out and then you're helping out more and more, or did they kind of draw you in? How did it come about?
So basically, with that youth group, they were used. That youth group was used as like participation, and they used to tell us, "Oh, there's this opportunity coming up,"
Mm-hmm.
or there's another place that wants to do stuff like, "Oh, if you go to this workshop, you'll be given £30 for attending and a free lunch." I was like, great, okay, I'm up for that. And then through that, I met one of my really good friends, and she became a friend and also a very useful contact as well. And that was the then Yorkshire coordinator for Young Minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was involved with Young Minds till I was like 26, till they had to get rid of me.
Yeah, you're officially not young now. You're over 26. Go away.
I know. Well, it was over 25, but then
Yeah.
until I was 26, they were like, no, like I did. They had to get rid of me, kicking and screaming, because like with all of these, like projects, they've got that age limit for funding reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they're not young anymore at 25, so let's like give them the boot. So basically, what I then realized was, like from 18 to 25, I did all that, and it was like great fun times. So I thought, okay, this is getting rather fun now. I can do stuff for Young Minds. And I kind of drifted away from the marketplace because Young Minds, once you're in with them, you get more nationwide opportunities, like their versus national project. So it was Young Minds versus, they had all these different thingies. I should have worn my hoodie because, no, actually, I can't have worn my hoodie because it doesn't fit me anymore. um, if I'd have worn my hoodie, I would have been able to tell you exactly what was on it because it says on the back of it. But it was like they recognized five issues. Hang on. might be able to find a picture, because this is quite ironic that back then, while they were promoting the Versus project, there was a general election going on,
Mm-hmm.
and me and one of my friends, Katie, we traveled down to London to talk at the Tory party conference.
Mm.
Yeah.
How was that? should
Yeah.
we go no further with that?
I don't know if I'd have known that they were going to stay and they were going to run the country into the ground as long as they have, I would never have done it. But idiot here thought, oh my God, they got to pay for your train, you got to get fed, you got to get, no, like, you can talk about the young minds and all that. And I was like, I was so focused about that. And I remember, let me see if I can, I've got a picture, it's in my favorites, actually. She says, I will attach it so you can add it to your, what do you call it?
Show notes.
Yeah, that. So I don't know how well you can see that.
Oh yeah.
Guess which one I am.
Are you in the corner there?
Yeah, I'm hiding in the corner. I had a blue wig on. I had a wig
Yeah.
with like a blue stripe going across, because I really didn't like my hair back then.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear a wig to look cool. And my wig made me look more like a boy than I normally look. So I was like, great. So that was that. And again, with Young Minds, it was more mental health related stuff. And with Young Minds and doing stuff, I could tick all the boxes. I could tick the brown, Muslim, disabled, mental health. And not like I could be involved in more things. And what else did we do? We made some things as well, but I can't remember what we made. We did quite a lot of things, and that's how I got in contact with fixers. I don't know if you've ever heard of fixers.
I don't think so. Not yet.
Right. So fixers, before they went into like liquidation, they used to do like different things. No, like they used to talk about social issues like disability and stuff like that. No, like, and I did something very close to 25, and I wanted to fix disability stigma within the South Asian community. And I was a bit what's the word? I was a bit hesitant with the edit, and I wish I would have spoken up about it now, because the way it was edited, it made me look, I don't know, I really want to make it. I really want to make that again. Because I was very like open. I was a bit too open about it, and I was like, and I was too honest. And that was my downfall. I was too honest about being South Asian and disabled. And the amount of hate, the hate comments are still up there. And again, hate comments and me are not a good mix, because I had to fight myself to not respond, because there was a few people that said, oh well, I've got a disabled cousin and we don't make them feel like that. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Because I knew, because people don't want it being public knowledge that the disability stigma within the South Asian community exists. Because I've worked in this industry for God knows how many years. I've done workshops where I've spoken to the actual community in mental health. And this is the beauty of being bilingual, because not only you can talk to people, but you can hear the conversations that people are having about what's going on around them. And me and one of my fellow volunteers, we had to bite our tongues literally and not grab the throat of someone while we were doing a stall in a public library. So this woman comes over and she's like, "Oh, so what you doing here?" And I go, "Oh, we're just doing a stall on mental health." And obviously, when people go to stalls, they see all the free stuff. And she's like, "Oh, can I take a pen?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, of course. Take a pen, take a key ring, help yourself." And I go, "We're here all day, so tell other people if they're interested to come along." As soon as she walks away, another woman goes up to her. And this was within earshot, so we could hear everything they both said. And the other woman goes to her, "Oh, why are they there?" And she goes, "Oh, they're talking about crazy people." And I had to bite my own tongue and not say what I really wanted to say. My colleague, she was like, she looked at me and she's like, "God, really?" And I'm like, "Yep, really." Because we both heard it, we both understood it. And obviously, someone who's non-Asian was stood next to us, and they're like, "What's wrong with you two?" And we're like, "Nothing, we'll tell you later." And she's like, "No, no, no, tell me now, what's going on?" And I was like, "Nothing, doesn't matter." Because we knew that her being who she is, that she would confront him. And I didn't want that. So I said, "No, I'll tell you later. It doesn't matter." But later on, me and my colleague, co-worker, whatever you want to call it, we were just having a conversation between ourselves. And she said to me, she goes, "Lyla, why do people get away with it?" And I go, "Because they can, because they always have. And they think that it's okay to say that because no one's confronted them about it." And she goes, "Well, someone should confront them." And I go, "Trust me, the amount of times I wanted to go up to a person in like social situations when they've made comments about my disability, and the amount of times I've had to really hold my tongue and really stop myself from saying it is because I respect my elders to a certain degree, but when they step out of line, I will go ham. I don't care. I will not care. I will not, like, I will call them out for doing what they do. And I've had to call people out a few times because I've just had enough. And
But I mean, that gets exhausting and there's risks involved to it as well, aren't there? So it's like,
yeah,
and if you have to do it all the time.
I remember a comment when my grandma and my cousins went to Pakistan for um a cousin's wedding. And bearing in mind, I've been to Pakistan a few times and it's not very accessible, but it's all right. And I enjoyed it. But this woman, this is the sheer ignorance of people. Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame you didn't go. It's a shame they didn't take you because it would have been good for you. And I'm like, "What you want about?" She goes, "Oh, people like you, it wouldn't fare well. And you wouldn't be able to cope in Pakistan." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's a shame I couldn't go because I'm working." And she goes, "Oh, right." Oh, she goes, "Oh, you've got a job." And I'm like, "Yes, I work. I don't sit on my ass." And I came home and I was telling my mum about it, and mum goes, "People are just stupid." And I go, "They're morons." They are morons. But that is like the be all and end all because just because I've got a disability, a physical disability, do not assume that I can't get on a bloody plane and fly to a different country. I've been abroad. I like it. I just don't have the funds to do what I really want to do, which is live somewhere like Bondi, where I'm away from all the I'm away from like my regular critics and be like, yeah.
So we've kind of done the how you got into it.
Mhm.
So I want to move into the question like COVID, Brexit, and so on.
Oh, COVID.
So let's start with COVID, and I want you to think about going into the lockdown and then also coming out of the lockdown. So how did it affect your work going into lockdown, and what were the changes for you coming out?
Well, having cerebral palsy was counted as in the clinically vulnerable category, and you were at risk of having it. And I was one of the cool people that didn't get COVID when it was popular to get COVID. I got it in 2022, right? I've had it. And yeah, it like takes you out, and no, like I would literally like I remember it was kind of ironic as well, because when COVID was going on, my grandma was still alive, and obviously being an older person, being uneducated as well, they were my grandma's thing was, oh, no, like she used to pray every day that me and my mum don't get it, because no, like my mum works in a nursing home. I worked in retail, and I was in contact with the general public in 2021. So me and my grandma have got this thing as we're very sociable people. So no, like when lockdown was a thing, and they told her that she couldn't go out anywhere, she couldn't go to other people's houses. Well, that didn't go down well with her. She, they hated it. They hated it so much. She was like, how can they do this to me? How can they do this to anyone? What are we supposed to do? We can't do anything at home. We can't see people. I think about 6-7 months into lockdown, we knew that their handling of this COVID and this crisis in the country was completely bonkers and nonsense, because I know that if I was Prime Minister, I would have done a much better job.
Yeah. I mean, as much as you give people the benefit of the doubt of this, that, and the other, and there was a lot to deal with and so on, it was like, we saw it coming, we saw it happening, and you didn't know at any point. It's like the amount of times, we know from the beginning, the advice changed every day, sometimes every hour of the day. So it's like, you're not, it was all over the place.
And they're like, oh, today you can wear a mask. Tomorrow, no mask needed. You can do 2 meter distance, all that rubbish. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, right? So obviously, me being clinically vulnerable, I had March to July. Was it July, or was it after? No, it was August. So I went back to work in August of 2020. And when I went back to work, there was like those plastic shields to
on the counters,
yeah, and there was obviously you had the 2 meter distance thing in place. You also had whatever what did we have? We had all these rules
sanitizer
about,
everywhere, and everything had
oh
to be
my God, the amount of
wiped
people that were stocking up on hand sanitizer. And the amount of people that was stocking up on loo roll, oh my God. The one thing that was prominent, people were thinking, oh my God, it gives you the shits, it does this, it does that. Why are you stocking up on loo roll then? If it gives you if it gives you diarrhea, why don't you stock up on diarrhea tablets? Common sense. But
Yeah, but
again,
people. Well, first of all, I don't think common sense is the thing. It doesn't exist. And then the other side of it, I guess, is just the whole thing of it was because it was on TV. It was that whole thing. I remember Jonathan Pye did a thing. He was like, you know, everyone's watching the news going, oh, look at all these idiots buying all the toilet roll. And then they're like, I guess I better go and buy all the toilet roll then before it comes out. It's like, you've created the problem.
it's like one of my colleagues at work, she got shouted at
Mm.
because we didn't have any toilet roll. And I remember that being a thing for ages. No, like, even though I wasn't at work, I was still in the group chat. So
Mm.
anything that would happen on those days, I could see what's going on in the group chat. And then, like, I would see pictures, I would see people complaining, I'd see colleagues complaining
Mm.
about the COVID restrictions that they would have for colleagues. Again, this is where my immense strength of willpower comes in. And I'm like, no, not going to happen. No, I'm not going to say anything. Well done for not saying anything. And the amount of times I've like written a message out, but just got it out of my system, written it out, and then pressed delete because I've had to do that to get it out of my system.
Yeah.
Like you said, COVID and then Brexit happening.
Mm.
Oh God. Brexit made me realize that humans are flipping awful because they're awful in the sense that, oh, we can do, no, like, like, I saw the interviews that people were doing when they asked, oh, we didn't take it seriously. We didn't think that Britain would leave the EU.
Mm.
Well, why did you vote leave then?
Mm.
But why? And no, like, the amount of people that now are complaining about the cost of living, the food going up, are Leave voters.
Mm.
No, like, where's the question I want to ask is, where's that 250 million quid that you promised the NHS? Where is it? Have you got this magic money tree that you were pushing so hard for Brexit? It happened. Why the hell aren't you delivering?
Mm.
Sorry, I should not talk about. I should not talk about politics because I will easily rant about it.
Well, just going back, just on the retail front.
Uh-huh.
I know we don't want to focus on it too much, but just do you think COVID's changed anything for retail? Like, really? Because all of those, like all of the restrictions that were put in, they're all gone now. Like the screens have been removed. Like
Yeah,
people can stand as close as they want. Like, there's a few sanitization stations still knocking around, but I mean, it seems to have just reset back to normal. Do you think
yeah.
anything's changed for the sector?
I think, generally speaking, everything's gone back to normal, but you still have people wearing masks when they've got a cold.
Mhm.
I know, like, when I've got a cold and it's really, really bad, I haven't had one, touch wood, for like ages. I
Mhm.
haven't had one for ages and I don't want one. Are you hearing that, body? Are you hearing that immune system? I don't want one again. And it's one of those things, like, it's more common to wear a mask now
Mm.
than it was beforehand. No one ever wore masks before 2020. It was unheard of. It was like the Eastern Asia thing where is my geography correct? Is it Eastern Asia or is it Central Asia where the masks were a thing? China, Vietnam, places like that where they all wear masks and stuff.
Places that had SARS as well.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, now we've got this mask business going on. And I was in London a few weeks ago, right? There are more people wearing masks in London than there are Leeds.
Yeah.
And it's more socially acceptable to go into shops in London and still have masks available. Like there was a few cafes I went into and they still had masks and stuff. But I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is nice. I wish they had more of this in Leeds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, it's an area that's not, we're going to be talking about COVID for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Let's just move on from COVID because I don't want to talk about it now. Because I'll just run.
So I want to do, I'm going to come on to social media, but I think we'll spend a bit of time on that. So I'm just going to move us on to climate change now. So in terms of your work, is it something that comes up or is it something that you've come across? Does it affect your work? Does it impact your work in any way you can see?
And what, climate change?
Climate change, yeah. I mean, so as a kind of random example, like sort of 2 years ago when we hit like 39 degrees in Leeds, like were you working that day? Did you have to work from home? Like, I mean, I'm thinking about other potential impacts, things like that. Because otherwise, I'm imagining the answer is no. It doesn't really affect my work.
No, it wasn't really hot last year. It was the hot the year before.
Yeah.
2022, because that's when I had my surgery on my feet, and it was that day. That was the hottest day of the year.
Oh, that's
and
unpleasant.
My feet were in bandages. I don't want to talk about it too much. My feet were in bandages.
Yeah.
I was, it took me, because the place I went to have it done was in Headingley. And I had to get an Uber home because there was no way I was attempting to walk to the bus stop
after
with
surgery.
with general anesthetic
Yeah.
in my feet. So bearing in mind I've got cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
I am not steady on my feet at all. Now add the fact that I've got general anesthetic in both feet. And I haven't eaten as much as I wanted to eat that day. So I'd already got a meal deal beforehand. So because I knew that when I'd come out, I'd be waiting for a taxi. And I thought, oh yeah, we're in Headingley. It's gonna be nice. I'm gonna be able to get an Uber. Wrong. I was waiting 25 minutes for an Uber. I remember that day really well. So I was waiting. I came home. My mum was already at home, so that was a good. The front door was wide open. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I came home, and this was literally about 2-3 days before my birthday. So I had the surgery on Monday. My birthday was on the Thursday, right? And it's really funny. So I got home, got upstairs to the bathroom, did what I needed to do, and then I went into the spare bedroom that we've got on the middle floor because there was no way I was going up another flight of stairs to my bedroom, which is in the attic. And I slept in the middle bedroom for the first few nights of my op being done. And that was torture. That was absolute torture. It was a boiling hot.
Yeah.
I had
Didn't
to
get any
draw
cooler,
the
did it?
blinds as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but you know when you sleep in, it doesn't matter. If you don't sleep in your own bed, you cannot fall asleep. Happens when I go away, happens if I stay at a friend's house or whatever. I cannot sleep unless it's in my own bed.
Mm.
And that's just, I think that's an everybody thing. That is not just a me thing, that's a universal thing. You cannot sleep unless it's in your own bed. And one of my friends will argue this to the high heavens, and she'll be like, no, I can sleep anywhere. There are people that will literally sleep anywhere. People that fall asleep on planes, trams, whatever,
Mm.
right? Me, I need my own bed. I need to be in that cocoon
Mm-hmm.
of my blanket, of my duvet, because I wrap myself in my duvet and I get like really, no, I'm like a little, I'm like a little sausage roll, as I describe it, right? I cannot sleep otherwise. And in that heat, you're going to think, what the hell is wrong with you? Even in that heat,
You had
I
to have
was
the
here, I was
duvet.
like a sausage roll. And my mum's like, are you
What are you
feeling
doing? You're
okay?
mad.
Are you feeling okay? And I'm like, yeah, I am. I can't fall asleep otherwise.
I bet, and I know you won't have been the only one. There'll have been hundreds of people. It's like, record temperatures, and they're like, I always do this, so I refuse to change.
And I'm really stupid as well. So I was like, no, I am not doing that. I am not. And they're like, I've got this next to me, right?
Mm.
The amount of times
It's a
I've fallen,
blanket for the listener.
yeah, sorry, a cream blanket with like nude little rainbows on it, right? um, well, I've fallen asleep in that blanket on this sofa,
Mm.
like in summer, so many times I've fallen asleep on here because I couldn't be asked going upstairs.
Mm.
But yeah, going back to the whole heat and climate change, I do my bit when I can. I recycle. Um, and not like, unless I don't do it for when I go to work, because when I go to work, I just get whatever bus comes.
Mm.
If I'm going to town for other reasons, going to the gym, I will purposely wait for the electric bus. I won't wait for the normal buses because they're a bit, and plus the electric buses are a lot nicer. They're a
Quieter.
lot cleaner. And the charging ports work as well.
The important things.
Yeah.
So let's go on to social media. I think you'll have a fair bit to say on this.
What do I want to say about social media?
Well, I mean, I guess you're going to the gym, making videos of the gym. That's a fair bit of work and social media work just on its own. So,
Oh,
I mean,
I
is that the
wouldn't
main
call
thing that
it
you're doing,
work.
or? Well, I mean, it's effort. You have to plan the stuff. I mean, even if you're being really lazy and you just turn up and put, press
That's what I do.
record on
That's
your phone,
literally what I do.
you still have to trim it a little bit and edit it and post it.
Yeah. And I have to try and be funny in my captions and like try and add a bit of zing in my captions. Yeah. When it comes to social media, I do more work on my main account, which is Cerebral Palsy Warrior 91, which I've been speaking to you on. And I also follow you on my other account as well, which is my writing account, which is As If Lyla Writes Poetry. And that was just a play on words, and I've got a load of underscores. I will send you both of them. And I've when it comes to my fitness stuff, I prefer doing picture posts rather than the video posts because picture posts are easier to manage
Yeah.
rather than the video ones. Okay, yeah, I like fling a reel here and there,
Mm.
but I think when it comes to you have that yeah, it's me. I have that internalized feeling of, is it good enough? And
Yeah.
I annoy the hell out of my personal trainer. The amount of times I've messaged him and sent him because I have to send him my I have to record my sets for him
Mhm.
to have a look at. And I remember I can get up the message right now, what he said to me. I sent him a video of I sent him, so basically I I sent him a video of my first set of squats, and with the caption I put Bambi is back, and he goes, "Are you not happy with it?" And uh, I just think they're wobbly and stuff. And he goes, "They don't look wobbly." He goes, "You're fine. You're fine." Yeah. He goes, "If I'm being really critical, you went a little too fast." And I was like, "Okay." And I get really anxious about these things, so I'm just like, um, but is it good enough? Should I post it? And he's like, I know what he's thinking. He's like thinking, oh, shut the hell up, leave me alone. I'm trying to work and you're, but is it, no, like I'll say stuff like, is it good enough? And he's like, yes, it's fine. Post it if you want to post it. Poor guy.
I mean, does it take up a lot of your time? Do you plan for it, or do you do it very much like, does it remain fun, or has it become work?
No, it's remained fun in the sense of, so when it comes to um a certain day of the year,
Mm.
or like March was Cerebral Palsy Awareness
Mm.
Month. So I was sharing all sorts throughout March on my stories. Obviously, with it being Ramadan, I shared a few posts in Ramadan saying stuff like, "So it's Ramadan. Does that stop me working out?" No. And then I did a humble brag that I managed to get these numbers before Ramadan.
Mhm.
And I'm doing maintenance work throughout Ramadan because, say you go from lifting, for example, 75 kilos down to that. And like, if you stop altogether,
Mm.
that's just a way of saying, sticking your middle finger up at your body and be like, yeah, I'm not doing it for 4 weeks. You can struggle. If I'd have done that, that
Yeah.
would have been a middle finger to my body and being like, yeah, you're gonna struggle for the next 4 weeks. You're gonna really thingy. And I'm one of those people that I can't sit still, like I've mentioned before. I cannot sit still.
Yeah.
I have to be doing something.
So
And
have you got a real like have you got the bug for I mean, have you got like the fitness bug? So you really into like are
yeah,
you going as much as you can?
yeah, I
Yeah.
go 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Well, I could do 4 days a week, but I have to have one rest day.
Mm.
And but no, like a few years ago, I used to go one night after work.
Mm.
It got too much.
Mhm.
I'm not taking my gym bag and getting changed at work. I did it for like a few weeks and I was like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Mm.
Until I realized I have to take my shit to work. I have
Mhm.
to get changed at work. So I have to
Mm.
go from being very modestly dressed to somewhat modest and wearing like tank tops with
Mm.
questionable slogans on them. And I know like my friends at the time were like, how on earth do you do it? How And I'm like, how on earth do I do what? Oh, you go to work, you do this. I'm like, yeah, and easy. But I think the turning point was one Sunday after, this was when I didn't work Sundays. I went to gym after a Sunday session, didn't I? And I'd had like a hell of a shift on Sunday because it was some sort of national holiday, and everybody and their nans decided to come in shopping that day, and they didn't stop. Which is this is one thing I'm going to say to any listener out there who goes shopping on a Sunday: please, for the love of God, please do not go into a shop 10 minutes before they close, do a full shop, then come through tills and be like, oh, well, this isn't the right price. Please, if you're going to do that, if you're going to have a moan and a complaint, please do it any other day of the week.
Yeah, during the normal opening hours rather than
Yeah,
as we
if
close.
you're gonna have a little fit about stuff, please have it when we've actually got time to deal with your query, not 10 minutes or 5 minutes before we have to turn off the tills and stuff. And they're like, don't get me wrong, I like my job. It gets me through.
Yeah.
But when it's like 10 to 5, 5 to 5 on a Sunday, and you've got Sharon who's like complaining about the price of something. Listen, love, I know it's expensive because I have to do my shopping every week as well. Do you not think I complain about this stuff?
Sharon's your nemesis, isn't she?
Sharon's the same person who tells me that I'm disabled, but I'm okay to work. I'm working, Sharon. You're not making my life easy for me, are you, love? Sorry, my body is trying to tell me to get up and move, otherwise it's gonna...
Yeah, my legs are achy. I've got really bad lower back pain and it's got worse and it should be getting better and I'm gonna have to go and do something about it. But yeah, we'll be okay. We can hang on. We're nearly there now anyway.
We're nearly there.
Much to cover. So do
But
we want
again,
to I was just gonna say, do you want to add any more about social media?
The thing is with social media, you have to I tread very carefully now, because if I'd have said what I really wanted to say, then whoa.
If you could change any 3 things about your work, what would they be? I mean, I'm thinking here. So my thinking is that you might jump towards and tell me if I'm way off base here, but you might jump towards something in terms of if work was a bit more patient. Because I'm thinking, going back to the nursing thing, I'm thinking if what would be more ideal for you is if I could have done what I wanted to do and there was the support mechanisms there for me to do it. So are you thinking along those lines, or are you being far more practical?
I mean, if I could change any 3 things, I would, going back, and if I was given an opportunity to do my diploma again, and I could do my national diploma, I could get into uni and do my nursing degree, I would do it. And they're learning about, I know a doctor who's also a runner, does CrossFit and does all sorts, right? She's all the way in. She was a Leeds. She was a doctor in Leeds, and now she's in Canada, I think it is now. She's full-time in Canada, and she's a doctor there. She works in pediatrics with kids, and I think it's pediatrics. I feel really embarrassed if I've got this
you're
wrong.
right. You're right. It's pediatrics. It is. Yeah. Children's health.
No. So the only reason I've got her in my head is because I saw one of her posts this morning, and she was one of the first people with a decent job that I discovered through Instagram, but she's also got cerebral palsy as well. So she was one of the first professionals that I knew that had cerebral palsy. I was like, okay, she can do it. Why can't I do it?
Mm.
What's stopping me?
Mm.
And that's always been my question. What's stopping me? Why? And yeah,
Resources normally, like whether
yeah,
it's emotional, time, you know, financial,
yeah,
it's knowing that you want to do it and having the, you know, having the resources, isn't it?
yeah. And I think it's the other thing as well. It's like how, like when you've been hit so much, when someone hits you so much, and you're just like, I must be stupid, I must be weak, it must be this, and this reason. It's never a logical thing. You don't think properly. You're like, oh, everyone must be right. I am like this, so I shouldn't do it, kind of thing. And back when I was younger, that was one of the main ways I used to think, because I was so used to people telling me that I can't do stuff.
Mm.
I was led to believe that I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, no, no, I'm not even gonna bother trying.
Mm.
But then on the flip side of that, like, despite my CP, how many other people do you know with cerebral palsy that can lift over their own current body weight? How many people with cerebral palsy can actually squat just under their body weight?
She's
And
raising
how?
her hand, listener.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Sorry for the people who can't see this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but whatever. Yeah. I hope you not. I hope you don't see this because I'm dead, and I'm not wearing the 500 tons of makeup I normally wear. But yeah, when someone says you've got cerebral palsy, you can't do that.
Mm.
And the amount of times, like even on Eid, like people are struggling with a bottle of drink.
Mm.
Like, do you want me to open it? No, you can't do it. I grab the bottle, open it, no problem. Oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd be able to do it. Like, hun, if I, like, why would I give myself that embarrassment of not being able to open the bloody bottle?
Mm.
Why would I offer to do it if I
Mm.
can't do it?
Mm.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I've had it at work where someone's like, "Oh, can you manage that? Do you want a hand with that?" And they're like, well, when I've asked for help, I'm very stubborn. I will wait till the last minute. I will try. Doesn't matter if it takes me 500 attempts. I will try and always do it by myself.
Mm.
But then this is where the stubbornness comes in. Until I absolutely cannot do something or I am struggling, that's when I give up straight away.
Mm.
Or if I can't reach anything, because I'm only 5'1.5". Well, 5'1" when I'm trying to impress someone, and then I'm 5'7" in my tallest heels. Um, but again, it's no, like, if I can't reach, I'll ask someone to get it for me.
Mm.
If I can't do something, I'll ask, but only after I've tried to do it myself.
Mm.
Because I will not. I'm one of those people that I would rather struggle than do it myself.
So let me ask you this then.
I would no, I
From
would rather do it myself, and I would struggle and do it myself than let someone else do it, and I will give up at the last second.
So how do you judge that then? Do you approach it as a sort of, right, I don't know whether I can do whatever
Oh,
activity. I'm going to try it
oh.
first, see how I get on with it, see if it's possible for me to do it, and then go to it? Or do you like, how are you making that assessment? Because you've obviously come to a place where you're being told, no, don't do that, you can't do that, to a like, oh, well, actually, I know better. I might be able to do that. I'm going to give it a shot. So how did you get into that thinking?
So Again, I can use the gym as an example. So, you know that thing I said to you earlier about the plates and situations like that? I've had it where someone's used the rack before me, and they've put the bar extremely high up. Now, if you're a gym goer, you'll know what I mean. So basically, we've got the nice rack, which are easier to manage, but harder to climb if someone's left the bar way up high. And I'll ask a nice looking, tall-ish boy to get it for me. But if there's none of those around, I'll have to go on the rubbish rack. Well, I say rubbish, but I prefer them now. The nicer enclosed racks, right? They are good, but also they've got the other sides where you can literally put some other metal bars to make it more stable for yourself when you are doing squats. And it's easier for me to set up anyway, because I used to hate them, but now I love them. They're the great ones. I don't know if you go to the gym, so I don't know if I'm talking nonsense to you or not.
I've been, I don't go.
Right, okay. So you don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine.
I get the gist. Yeah.
Yeah, so the more enclosed ones, I like them because even if the bar's high up, I can still climb onto I shouldn't do this. This is the please don't do what I do, or don't
try
do
this
not
at home,
follow
kids.
this advice. Do not follow this advice. And if any of the personal trainers that work at my gym listen to this, and I know my personal trainer's going to listen to this. So Matt, I am really sorry, and I will try not to do it. But if I have to, I will climb onto the side of the rack, grab onto whatever I need to grab onto, just to get the bar a few rows down on one side. Then I'll climb down, go to the other side, do the same thing on the other side, get it down to a height I can reach it, and then set the rack up appropriately. Now, there have been two occasions where I'm like halfway doing this process, or I've gone to climb up onto the rack, and there's a guy approaching me, like, do you want me to get the bar down for you? I'm like, yes, please. But there have been times where people have actually watched me do it all. They're like, just watch me do the whole process, and then watch me squat as well. Oh, I didn't think you'd be able to do it, but you've done it. Like, do you want a medal? Do you want my autograph for watching me squat? Anyway.
I mean, do you take any encouragement from it occasionally? Like, it must be nice occasionally to kind of go, yeah, I can do it, and like show people up.
No, like sometimes I look at, no, like when you have like a really shit day with your anxiety, again, sorry for language, if you have a really off day with your anxiety and stuff, I'm like, oh great, I can't, no, like, and then I've got, because I've got an iPhone, and you can you've got different profiles of like, so on my fitness, if I turned on my fitness thingy, I've got a picture of myself as my lock screen for motivation. So when I'm at the gym and my phone's locked, and if you're having like a really rubbish set, I used to look at myself in that when I was, for the listeners, I'm just showing Simon my lock screen, which is a picture of myself.
With a very big bar of weights.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm doing a certain exercise. And that was when I was in a really good place, like with my fitness as well. So that's why I have that as my lock screen, because
Did you start the training before lockdown, or was it?
Oh, I started training properly in 2019, 2018, 2019. 2019 was the year for me where again, that's when I started my the CP Warrior account. I also I cut off a lot of people as well. People who always, people who were versed to saying lots of things about me, about my CP. It's always like, yeah, you've got CP, and we're like, yeah, screw you, bye, kind of thing. And I think one of the things that was a turning point was cutting off an ex best friend of nearly, no, it wasn't a decade, nearly a decade, about 8 or 9 years. And the constant criticism I had in my ear, the comments, everything I got from a so-called best friend. I've come through it, and I've realized that it wasn't me that was the problem. If I could change 2 other things, I'd say, and they're like, I'd never change the fact that I've got cerebral palsy. That is one thing I would never change, because if I didn't have cerebral palsy, I wouldn't have gone through the life experiences I've been through. I wouldn't learn the lessons I've learned through having cerebral palsy. I've learned, and the only thing I'd change is the reactions I get to CP. Like, most people are fine with it, but then the people who go, oh, it must be so hard, it must be so this, but your legs, can you walk? I'm like, no, idiot, I'm floating, aren't I? And this is quite a controversial question. I used to get it a lot in the dating scene, and it was the whole, can you still question? My response was, yes, I can, just not with you. And that's it. Conversation ended. Conversation ended. That's the one thing I am going to say is, like, why is it like when a female tells a male that they've got a disability, why is that the first question that comes to mind?
You know
Why?
this as a woman because women have told you how many you have heard the sentence a million times. Men only think about one thing.
Yeah. Don't I flipping know it? That's the good thing about being absolutely single as well, because you can say whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, and you don't have anyone there to say stuff to you, because
Say no, yeah.
I would just be like, yeah. And for the people, for the little audio listeners, I just threw my fist in the air, because that's my thoughts.
Your defiance.
Yeah. I don't really care. No, like, the thing is, why it's that thing of, oh, I'm disabled, I'm living life, and I don't really, and they're like, I'm fine with having a disability. My friends are fine with me having a disability. How, and they're like, my best friend, she was like, she says to me, she goes, I'm so proud of you, of how far you've come and all that. I'm like, if you say that sentence one more time, I will punch you. She goes, what? I am proud of you. And I'm like, I don't like it because it sounds patronizing. And she goes, no, it doesn't. You've done so well and you've come so far. And yeah, just be proud of what you've achieved and all that. And I was like, yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not very good at taking compliments up here.
Oh, I definitely cannot take compliments.
Okay, so that's two we've got. Is there anything else? Do you want a third one on there?
Well, this is like, well, my wildest dreams, but if I had an extra 500 quid lying around, I'd bring back the British National Party, but I would rebrand it. I'd keep the same initials, BNP. I won't say anything else on like any leaflets or whatever. So all the racists think that they're voting for the British National Party, but instead they're voting for the British National Pakistanis. And once we get in, Eid will be a national holiday twice a year for all the Muslims only. Like they can get a free day off work without any, not like without any criticism from their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a dedicated minister for, and they're like, for all these things. There'd be all these, they're like, hopefully the Tories will be out. So every single Tory that has done anything wrong will be put in a minimum wage job with no funding, given a rubbish house so they can live like the people that they were claiming to be like, oh, but you can live off 60 quid a week. Okay, you claimed that when you were in power. Let's see you do it. I would do that. And all these people that they're like, we've got people in prisons and that have done somewhat wrong.
Yeah, who haven't harmed nearly as many people as the people in Westminster have.
So, not like people who've done financial crimes, we could put them in positions of like, not like in charge of money and stuff. We'd put them in like social places, not like, I don't know.
Hospitality jobs,
Yeah,
service industry. Go and make beds, clean rooms, see how
yeah,
easy it is.
yeah.
You think it's easy? You think you get a decent pay for that? You do
Yeah,
it.
you can go there.
Yeah.
And then we've got really rubbish punishments for drink driving. We've got really rubbish punishments for hit and runs and stuff like that. We've got really rubbish punishments for murder and stuff. So all of the criminal justice system, I've already thought about this in great detail. I could go
You're
on
just
for
changing work, Lyla. You're not changing the world.
no. I would change the country. And they're like,
You've gone power crazy.
yeah. But again, like I said, if I had that spare 500 quid to do it, to start a political party, that's what I would do. And like all these ministers for health, ministers for like transport, I'd give it to people. I'd put the people in the job in those positions who have actually
Do something about it. Yeah.
done that job,
Yeah.
who actually know something.
Yeah.
Not someone who's been out bloody eating for 4 years and I had caviar for breakfast every other morning. No, you're all
never done anything themselves. Their nanny's always done it for them.
And they're like, I'll put those people in like, put them on a checkout at McDonald's or McDonald's drive-through or bloody Weatherspoons. Then they'd know what it's like to have a real job.
Put them on the door, make them security, see how many people listen to them then. They're like, oh, you think you can tell people what to do, do you? Go on, off you go.
Oh, I used to be the Prime Minister of the country. You're 4'11", mate. You can't do anything to me.
Pick you up and throw you through that window. So, right, let's quickly do UBI. So, if there was a universal basic income, how would that potentially change things for you? Would it be something that could be beneficial, or?
It depends on the amount. Like if,
yeah,
say for example, I think for me to have a comfortable life and for me to have comfortable Because I could give you my wage at the moment is roughly right, and that is combined of my wage and the disability benefit I get. With my disability benefit, it's like, oh, you're disabled, here's some money. And it's calculated in terms of what I need to live, right? And they say that they do it on your based on your disability. And yeah, my walking isn't great. And I said back then I could manage more walking than I can now. Now I use buses and mostly Ubers to get around. And long story short, for me to have a comfortable life and not worry about stuff, I'd say £3,000 a month, £4,000 a month. And in my household, I pay for the internet. I do the food shop. I pay for the internet and TV as well as the food shop every week. And for two people, 50, £60 a week, right? So and people are like, people will be listening like, oh no, I pay £100 a week for my food shop. What she's chatting. If you think about it, that 50, £60 a shop is just at the general supermarket. This is not counting the 2 trips I have to do to the Asian supermarket to buy my meat, right? Everyone complains, oh, the price of chicken has gone up, oh, the price of meat has gone up. Try buying halal meat. I used to brag about how cheap it was. Now it's like $6 to $7.99 a kilo. How? Why? Yeah, I get it's killed in a holy way, but you shouldn't be, ripping people off. We need food to live. So yeah, that 2 grand, 2, 3, 4 grand a month would be nice, but
let me ask you this on it. So bearing in mind you get the disability benefit. If there was a UBI and it was being given on a universal basis, would you be worse off? Or do you think you would be better? Like, do you think it would be helpful in that it's a benefit there that everybody's getting? So there's no sort of that's unfair, you're getting something and you shouldn't have this because everyone's getting it. But then there's the kind of like, you might be worse off financially because you're getting the same benefit as everyone else sort of thing, but you're not getting that additional help. Do you think that would have any effect? Do you think it would be better or worse on that level? Like,
I think it'd be worse because at the moment I've got my job and I've also got my disability money coming in. Say this UBI thing comes in, right? The UBI would be obviously it'd be combined of disability of other factors. Be like, oh yeah, you're low income. There you go. You're disabled. There you go. It wouldn't be like a tailor-made amount to you. It'd be like this, me, myself, you, people I know will all get the same amount. They'd all say get that same, for example, £250 a month, right? Everybody gets that £250 a month, regardless, right? And then they say, okay, now you're getting UBI, we're going to take your disability away, right? So going from having that extra money a month to then getting this universal benefit, I would be worse off because one, I wouldn't be able to get my food shop. Two, the cost of getting around would build up because if I have to travel long distances and quickly, I'd have to say stuff like, oh, I can't do this. And they're like, I can't do this because it's this, and this going on. And If I'm making any sense at all right now.
Yeah, you look like you're fading a little bit. Are you okay for like? How's your energy levels? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm right.
I need to move
And,
around. Yeah, my legs are starting to ache. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. So I'm gonna finish it off so we can turn this bit
is
off.
it
For now.
recorded?
Yeah, it's recorded.
No, what I meant is it video recorded?
Oh, I record the video, but I don't use the video. So I
Right,
will
okay.
delete the
I'm
video after.
gonna
It's just so I can see you when we're
right,
doing.
okay. I can have a snack then.
Yeah.
I was purposely not eating because I thought it was gonna go in. So,
Well, look, right.
um,
I'm gonna do a quick wrap up now. Right, so that's covered most of what we need to say. I will let you finish eating before I ask you a question. So yeah, thank you very much for doing this today. It's been great to chat to you, and we've gone all over the place as usual. Are there any? So we've mentioned CP Warrior and your other Instagram, which will be in the show notes. But yeah, do you want to signpost anyone to anything at this point?
I have a very dead YouTube channel, which um I'm not gonna plug it just yet because I don't use it.
Hmm.
But my Instagram is at Cerebral Palsy Warrior 91,
Hmm.
all one word. And my second account, which is where I post my poetry and writing. I forgot to mention all that.
Yeah,
Um,
you dropped it in once, but we didn't really talk about it.
yeah, I back when I was about early 20s, I also got into poetry and spoken word poetry, and
Mm.
I've done a number of performances dotted around. So I've got some bits and bats on my main account, but I'm working in the process of adding them to my writing account.
Mhm.
And my writing account is as underscore if underscore Lyla underscore writes poetry. I will put this, I will give these to you to put in the show notes because, yeah, I forgot to like do all that blurb business before we started recording. So please remind, I will WhatsApp you everything. I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah.
a very organized individual.
You've got to really train yourself to be on, to be always selling, don't you? So
Yeah. And
I mean, you're on a podcast, so you're creating content, so you've ticked the boxes there.
I've done enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done enough.
You've done plenty. You've just done a 2-hour conversation for content.
I've just waffled on for like 2 hours. I'm really sorry.
That's what podcasts are.
If you make an audio recording, you can, like a clip, just be like, I waffled on for 2 hours.
It's the best advert you can have.
You are going to do that, aren't you? I waffled on for 2 hours. Great.
I might now that you've said
No,
it. So I'm going to thank you again for taking part today. Has it been all right? How's it been for you? Has it been okay?
it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it, actually.
Good.
I mean, I just I know I waffled on for quite a bit, but I think that's what you said it is.
Yeah.
Podcasts are mostly waffling.
Thank you again to Lyla for being my guest. Thanks as always to all my guests, and thanks to you, Leeds, for being my subject. You can find Lyla on Instagram at Cerebral Palsy Warrior 91, and there is also a link to their poetry in the show notes. If you'd like to contact me about working hours or any of my guests or their interviews or what the hell I'm on about at any particular moment or anything at all working hours related, even about being a guest, yes, you can do that if you're a lawyer. Then you can email me about the show at workinghourspod at western-studios.com. If you would like to buy Working Hours episodes outside of the main project, either as gift episodes for yourself or for others, you can do that, and you don't need to be based in Leeds for that. If you've been a guest already and you want to buy additional clips or content from your Working Hours episode or interview, then I'm obviously happy to let you do that. If you want to license Working Hours for anything, or if you really want some Working Hours merch, let me know. If you're an individual, a business, or an organisation based in West Yorkshire and you would like to sponsor or advertise on Working Hours, get in touch. It will be ridiculously cheap. If you want to contribute financially to Working Hours, you can make a donation of any amount or buy a membership subscription to support regularly. There's plenty of ways to do that, but the easiest way is via Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/Working Hours. If you would like to make a version of Working Hours for yourself about your own city, then also get in touch to discuss that and how we might boost each other's projects. If you are a business, an individual, or an organisation that is ready to take that next step and make your own podcast or audio content for your own audiences, then you can do that and support Working Hours by buying podcast services from me at Western Studios Leeds Limited. I've made podcasts for businesses, organisations and individuals, as well as the over 140 episodes of Working Hours, and I can give your show as much hands-on or hands-off support as you need. I can only take on so many shows though, so speak to me sooner rather than later about your show needs if you would like to work with me. To make your West Yorkshire podcast, email makemypodcast at western-studios.com. Website and social links for Western Studios Leeds are in the credits. Commissions from outside of West Yorkshire will be considered, but it will cost a little more, just a smidge. Okay, that's me. Remember, listener, no matter what you do, it's impossible for you to understand anything that your salary depends on you not understanding. So work for peace and plan with kindness. Raise your voice and reduce your impact. Be big with your space and big with your dreams. Cheers, ears. Take care out there. And be kind to each other, Leeds. Working Hours is produced, recorded, edited and published by Simon Treen for Western Studios Leeds Limited. The music was The Bees from Chopin's Etudes, which is in the public domain and was taken from museopen.org. Go to western-studios.com and use the contact page on the site to drop me a message about either Working Hours or about your own Leeds podcast project. Keep up to date with Working Hours and find out about the other great Leeds podcasts that Western Studios is involved with by following Western Studios Leeds on Facebook at facebook.com/western_studios_Leeds and on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/company/Western-Studios. Western Studios Leeds is available to loaners to help them realise their own podcast projects for only £30 for an hour of audio podcast work or £40 for an hour of video podcast work. Email makemypodcast at western-studios.com with details of your project and what support you want to get your Leeds podcast made. Whatever your podcast question or need, get in touch with Western Studios Leeds.